All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live today on the Provoke Coach podcast. So I appreciate everybody getting on, and I appreciate everybody, really as we're going through this, guys, don't be afraid to let us know that you're there on all the different platforms. It's really important for us to understand. That way we can move it through the internet and through the system to make sure that everybody gets a chance to listen in. So I have a very special guest, a guest that I've known for quite a few years, and I've seen some major transformations in this guy. So I have here today a gentleman that I've got a chance to work side by side with, and he is just a true hustler. Okay, by every given fashion. So he was able to do something very, very special in his life, and he will continue to do this on this path. So I'm excited to have Mr. Jeffrey Poole, aka Sir Young Duke. Thank you so much for being on, my friend.
Appreciate being here too. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So, look, for those of you that maybe are that follow me, that don't follow Jeff or Sir Young Duke, Jeff, give us a chance to really kind of hone in on who you are. What are you doing right now? Let's talk about the present a little bit.
Well, I'm a father of two girls, one 10 years old, and then another, she's new. She's a year and 3 months now. And, that's first for me.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm an entrepreneur. I got a brand, Gang Green, that's really just been like a dream of mine for like 15 years, more than 15, my whole life pretty much. But now it's just all starting to come into reality for me. And we do clothing. It's a record label as well. I'm an independent artist. Like I said, independent record label, songwriter, designer.
Fantastic. Awesome. So out of all of these hats that you wear, okay, I see that you're wearing the shirt. And like you said, for a second, it's about a dream of yours that you've had. So that's interesting because, from one perspective, the glitz and the glamour of being an artist, right? And live in that part, of your dream for a second. What are we talking here? I mean, have things shifted and changed over the years, or is it just another iron in the fire?
Oh no, a lot of things definitely shifted and changed. Like I said, it just started out basically as a dream, and then, just figuring out how to make things, from a dream to like actually my real life. So yeah. I mean, a lot of things changed. Just growing and learning every day, and just keeping on moving through everything.
Yeah.
That's pretty much just keeping on going, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I remember, way back when, you and I were kind of working together in corporate America, and I remember your first daughter, right? But now we have daughter number 2. Yeah. Right. So that kind of has changed the game. And we'll, I guess, kind of get into that, in a second. So right now you have your company, Gang Green Merch, right? Which is this clothing line, right? That you design. I see you're wearing essentially one of the shirts. I know that. I just saw, an awesome ad. That's probably the newest one. Is that right?
It's the new drop. It's Dream Fearless.
Yeah.
Actually, what I'm naming my album as well. So we decided to make a shirt to go along with it.
Okay, so that's your next album coming up, and you decided to promote it a little bit in a couple different ways. Then that's awesome. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
I like that, baby. I like that right there.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just about inspiring. Just to live fearless and dream fearless, and that's what the whole album is gonna be about. It's really like it's gonna be like pretty much my life story.
Okay, got it. So it's like an autobiography type, album that's coming out, right?
Something like that.
Yeah. Okay, I like that.
Definitely gonna be a storyline to it, where it's it's gonna be real, and You know, you get to know me a little bit more through the
Right.
music.
Right. Through the music a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I know that, a couple things that I want to talk about. I mean, just with hearing both of those things, I guess we'll start with, let's kind of roll back a little bit. You were working in corporate America, doing what people do, right? Like I know, you were an athlete before that, and we'll get into that, here in just a few, at a professional level. And then as we're rolling through, like, let's talk about one pivot or one provoking moment at a time. What made you decide to just move out to Cali and just, because you're from Michigan, you're from the Detroit area, right? Right. In the Detroit area. I know that's where you and I, got connected.
Mm-hmm.
And then what got you to move out there? What got you to finally take that step?
Well, I had an opportunity, to move out to Cali.
Yeah.
And I just took the opportunity and I pretty much never looked back. But yeah, coming out here it's changed my view on the way I look at things, because it's a lot, it's a lot more opportunity. It's bigger. I see a lot of different things out here.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just going with the flow, and just like, what, I'm just gonna do this.
Mm-hmm.
I live in Michigan, and it changed my life drastically.
Yeah. And I mean, what did you notice? I mean, because you really went out there, really, I mean, yeah, you had opportunities, right? You had this talent, you had this ability, you had this work ethic and drive. But, when I first saw you move out there, I mean, and I still see you do this to this day, you are just hustling and grinding, not just with obviously your albums. I mean, like, you're out there putting albums in people's hands and signing, I mean, what artists don't do that. Once they've been and had a little bit of success, this as well as I do, Jeff, their heads become large. They're too cool for school. They don't want to go out there. But you have done this for what, 5 years now, 6 years, 7 years? Like, it's going on a minute.
Well, yeah, the reason why I think it's important to touch the people,
Yeah.
That's what I do it for, the people, what I mean? That's the ones who really listening. And I'm not, I'm not trying to be like, big headed or nothing like that. I want to get out and talk to many people as I can.
Yeah.
That's who gonna listen to the music anyways. And I gain a lot
That's
of
right.
that way.
Yeah. A lot of fans, a lot of following. I mean, you really went out there, with nothing, right? I mean, nothing really.
Nope.
And you made it. I mean, just like you did, I guess, and we'll talk about that in a second, through your upbringing a little bit, you did the same thing. Now, let's go ahead and rewind a little bit. Let's get back kind of to the beginning, because I'm interested to hear kind of where this came from, because you have, in my opinion, watching you over the years, you have this unique ability to be able to, whatever you're doing, do it at an elite level, right? Not just good, but like an elite level. Like, yeah, maybe somebody can spit a couple of rhymes and, they might hang out with their pals and whatever the case is and do it. Or somebody can sing really well, maybe they have a pretty good YouTube following. Like, you're straight up like doing music video, like you went at it like on fire. Where did this come from? Like, talk about your upbringing for a little bit.
Well, I'm from Jackson, Michigan. It's a small town. Not really much going on. And I never seen nothing like that growing up, obviously. But for me, it's just like, just hustling. You know what I mean? Just hustling, and always just keeping the foot on the gas, because I know where I come from. You know what I mean? Where I come from is not a lot going on. So if I got the opportunity to make some things happen, I'm gonna go all at it. That's the way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, did your parents teach you that? I mean, let's talk about that for a second. Like it all starts someplace.
Yeah.
So it's either a high level, standard, like tons of support, or it's not, right? And that makes you do one thing or another, right? So talk about that for a second.
Yeah, my parents, my mom, she was she always worked and kept like 2 or 3 jobs, to feed us and everything. So I seen that growing.
Yeah.
My dad, he always worked a job as well. Nothing like what I do, but yeah, I mean they always worked hard. But for me, like sports, really, because I grew up playing sports, basketball,
Yeah.
football, and that's where I think I really got that hustle mentality from, is just trying to be the best in the sport.
Yeah.
Yeah, my peers, I had a lot of good competition growing up, like in my little circle, and I always wanted to be the best. So I always worked as hard as I can, even when some people were like more talented to me. Um,
Yeah.
I just knew I just had to outwork them. So I think
Yeah.
that's where that come from, because it's always been like that for me. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like I just gotta work hard, and I know I can be the best at whatever I do.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, yeah, I mean, you had your folks, they were working and grinding it out. So
Yeah.
they were a good vision of what it takes to really get by, right? And it's not like, they were millionaires,
No, not
right? Like they, maybe not in any way, shape, or form. You know what I mean? So when you live like that, I know that you and I spoke, before our live conversation, and we spoke about, things got tough, right? Like,
facts. And that for not just like 1 or 2 years, it was like years of my life where it's been rough, like growing up as a kid, you know what I mean? And
right.
so yeah, coming from that, it's just like, man, it's like what can possibly be worse, so it's like, just go for it all.
Yeah. Well, and that's, it allows you to develop this winner type mentality, right? It's like, you and I know this because we've been in physical fitness for most of our lives, right? That we know that, like when you start to put your body under stress over and over again on purpose, right? You start to do that, you start to develop muscles that you've never had before. Any training or any sports or anything, even your brain, you start to get a little bit conditioned with that. And you start to be, but it also creates, right, somebody that you got two choices to make, because Jeff, you could have went down a totally different path. Right. Like you totally could have, I mean, and some of us do for a while, we go astray and we do dumb shit. And then we finally come back, but it could have really gotten you into a bind. Talk to us a little bit about, I know that you were pretty competitive with basketball, right? Like you moved up fairly quickly in basketball. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Basketball. Well, I played my whole life, high school, college. I played a couple years in Jackson College.
Yep.
Small college. But anyways, yeah, I played a couple years there, but I ended up having a baby, my daughter.
Yeah.
And that's when I'm like, man, I can't, because I couldn't play basketball and feed her at the same time. So I'm like,
yeah.
And that's when I, figured it out, like as far as, the corporate world, and then that's, where we met and everything. And
yeah.
yeah, but basketball, growing up, I played my whole life, AAU, won a lot of championships, all types of stuff, and I really felt like I could have made it, further than college.
Yeah. Well, I remember when, you first came on board, and you first really kind of, got a real job, right? Instead of living the dream, right? you were playing basketball competitively, ones to where you were looking to maybe go on to some Canadian leagues, was it? I remember having this conversation with you at one time to where you were kind of being scouted a little bit in that small private college that you were in.
Right. Yeah, I actually had a couple of tryouts for a couple different overseas teams.
Yeah.
But the process, they wanted me to come back and retry out, and by that time I was just kind of like, I was done with it by that time. I'm not even,
Right.
I wasn't, as far as basketball, I had a real job. Now I was just like,
Yeah.
go down this road, and
Well, and everything happens for a reason, right? Like you do stuff that you love, you do stuff that's fun, but you figure out that it's really not your calling. It's really not what you were supposed to do, right? And then, it's funny that certain things take place in your life that kind of, they are provoking moments. Like you said, you had your daughter, like you had to say, all right, hey, Dad, it's time to grow up a little bit, so, corporate America, you had to jump in.
yeah.
And you kind of had to dig your heels in, and you picked up some fantastic skills along the way, right? That was a good education, and then
Without picking up those skills, I mean, right now I couldn't even see myself doing what I do now. That's the reason why I'm able to really excel. I mean, yeah, I got the hustle for it, but when you learn how to really, sell, and I feel like the world, like, pretty much I can take on anything right now because
yeah,
I can handle any situation. Like, as far as, like, with my brain, and like talking to people, and selling something, I can sell anything.
right, right. Well, and you're out there really grinding, right? Like this is, such an old school tactic
For
that
sure.
you're doing. That I mean, look, this was done in the late 90s,
Yeah.
right? In the early 2000s. This is before you could download music. This is before you could steal music, right? Like this is when you started being able to burn CDs, right? Like that's when shit got real. Like you're totally doing like an old school tactic, but it is like, and if there's any business owners listening right now, like that is so much the reason why you are successful as an artist, because you're right. Those are the people that are listening.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine this? Like, I'll give you a couple of examples. Like when I listen, to some of your tracks,
Mhm.
like my wife, she looks over and I'm jamming, and she's just like, yeah, the feeling that you get when you know somebody, that
Right.
you've actually met somebody, that somebody that is on the other end of that phone as an artist, that's powerful. It really, really is.
That's
So
true.
you remember, it really is. Like people should really, take a word from your book, right? Or a tactic from your book, because what you're really doing is you are now putting a face with a name, with a handshake, with a photo in there, because I see what you're doing, right? You're posting there, they're posting you. So your following
Mhm.
on Instagram has like skyrocketed,
Yeah.
right? Like, I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. It all came from just going out there, meeting people hand in hand. Because when I first started my Instagram when I moved to California, I didn't even have an Instagram before that. And
Yeah.
ever since I've been, going out and meeting people, shaking hands, kissing babies, and yeah, it's been growing and growing and growing. Even my YouTube channel, everything is all from
Yeah.
just meeting people on the streets. It's not,
Right.
any, like, you know, internet marketing really, or nothing like that. It's just meeting people.
Right. Right. Exactly. And do you think that you've kind of taken that into, your merch company as well and your apparel company?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's about for me. So
Yeah. And how is it different for you? Because that's two totally different things, right? Like, I mean, yeah, you can kill two birds with one stone when you go out, right? You could be like, hey, take my shirts as well. I mean, you could kind of really do it all essentially out there. But how is it different? What are you learning about this as far as, because apparel and retail is not your background.
No, it's not at all. It's something I started. It's with the quarantine and everything, and not being
Right.
out and meet people every day. I'm like, man, I got to figure something out. Um, so yeah, we started the apparel, with the merch and everything,
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean, it's been going great. Even with not being able to go out and meet people, now we jumping
Yeah.
in, you know, the internet game and Shopify and ads and everything like that, and
Yeah.
that's where we're taking it now. But yeah, what going out and meeting people and just introducing them to the brand. I mean, yeah, people buy the CDs, but it's not like it's what a lot different with the shirts and everything like that.
Yeah.
Even if I say, okay, you buy the CD, I give you a shirt. Sometimes they might not even want to take the shirt.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
different. It's definitely different, but at the same time, it's just like just keep going and learning from the failures and
Yeah.
coming up with different I guess different tactics.
Yeah. Well, and that's the idea too, right? Is that you kind of learn. I mean, we were having kind of this discussion even, prior to us going live. We were talking about, the wannabe entrepreneurs out there, right? And we even made a joke like some people wear the shirt entrepreneur, but they're not an entrepreneur, right? In what the real word really means, if you look it up in the dictionary, it means that you've invested not only time but a financial investment into your business, in hopes that you get that money back, right? And that's pretty much what it means. And then some, right? And then of course everybody wants to profit, right? Everybody needs profit margins,
Right.
but really what it takes to be an entrepreneur. And I think that you're an example of this. And I think that your companies, whichever companies that you do, you will be an example of this, is that you even said it, the people are the ones that are listening to the
Right.
music,
Yeah, I'm not trying
right?
to and do this for some executive or nothing like that. I mean, yeah, that's cool if they pick it up and they want to, you know,
Yeah.
we have been in conversation with some labels, but it's not for that. For me, it's just
Yeah.
to reach the people, and I think
Yeah.
that's about that's why I like doing my thing independently too.
Yeah. Well, and you have to too, right? When you're passionate about what it is that you want to put out there, because I get it. I mean, I have some other artists that are going to be, on our podcast as well. And, it's interesting. There's such a business side of entertainment that people don't really understand, that takes, in my opinion, takes a little bit of the sizzle out of the steak, if you will, and it kind of deflates you in a little bit of a way. But like you said, if it's for the people and if your mission is there, then that's fantastic. Where does the future lie? I mean, what are you looking at doing, I guess, in the future now? Like, is there other things that you're kind of taking a look at? Is there things that are on the horizon?
Yeah, always. We always looking into new things, but pretty much right now, in the future, like this next 9 months until the end of the year, is basically just pushing this Dream Fearless collection with the game
Yeah.
merch and the Dream Fearless album, and it's pretty much to inspire, youth. Like I said,
Yeah.
I come from Jackson, Michigan, where like there's not a lot going on. I've seen a lot of my peers, either go to jail for the rest of their lives or die. Like I grew up around that, and
Yeah.
and that's what a lot of the youth there and a lot of youth everywhere feel.
Yeah.
That's all they have is just maybe a street life, and I'm just trying to inspire people to show them that there's more, you can do more um with your time. You know what I mean? Everybody doesn't have to go out and sell drugs or do illegal things to get by, and that's just the reality for like I said, for where I come from.
Yeah.
That's not everybody's reality. Some people might just might be scared to go out and talk to somebody. you know
Yeah.
I have been there before too. You know,
Yeah.
I haven't always been the most comfortable person, um, you know, trying to sell something to somebody. So, you know, so as far as that aspect as well, you know, just to be fearless on whatever you do,
Yeah.
you know, your dreams, just, you know what I'm saying, you can actually live them if you just go out and not have fear. And you know, or not just not have fear, just face your fears, I should say.
Yeah.
Because of course, you know, I have fears. Everybody does. But
Yeah.
yeah, you face your fears. You know, you never know what's on the other side of that.
Yeah. Well, but not only that is something that you said that was, quite interesting, right? That, look, you know, it's not always easy. Like like you said, the upbringing that you had, thank God you had great parents, right? That point, that raised you right.
Right.
Okay. But there was a tons of influence around you. And like you said, tons of your friends, maybe even some of your family went down a different path.
Hmm.
Right. And that's the cool part about the world that we live in is that, even though sometimes we don't feel like there's much freedom where we live,
Right.
oh boy, is there ever at this point, because there's enough freedom for you to make that decision. And like you said, to dream fearless, to really dream like, you know what, like it is possible. What if you moved to Cali to go be an artist? Like, I'm sure people told you, like, you're out of your goddamn mind, sir.
Thought her crazy, and you know,
Oh, yeah.
leaving my job. That was, you know what I mean. That was like the biggest mistake I ever made in my life, and
Sure.
you know, yeah, I didn't hurt it all, but you know, and I didn't fail too. I didn't, you know what I'm saying, I didn't been through ups and downs through this journey.
Sure.
I,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, I didn't lost everything before, you know, when I was at a point where I'm like, man, I'm good, like I'm never gonna fall off, or you know what I mean. I done lost it
Yeah.
all, and I felt lonely. You know, people like I told you so, but
Yeah.
you know, at the end of the day, you know, I just figured out like I just got to keep moving. And
Yeah.
if I did it before, I can just, you know, I can do it again. And you know, I'd have been at zero more than once.
Right, right. I mean, isn't that something, that like people sometimes think, and, I'm glad that you said that, Jeff, is that, look, I've been at zero more than once. That's what you just said. Like, been here, done that. This ain't shit, and I think that, sometimes you're right. I mean, you remember what that does is that builds such a huge fire around you
Yeah.
that it's tough to put you out, right? Like it's going to be real tough to extinguish that fire that's inside of your belly, because you're right, you have been there before, right? And that's where, and I mean, I think my wife and I were having this conversation a few months back. It's like, look, we've been in tough spots, we've been in great spots. Like, we're, this ain't, okay, little bump in the road. Like, let's just keep going and make it. Well,
Yeah.
that's, yeah, sorry. Yeah, I mean, that's fantastic that you're doing that. Now, so let's talk about that. Dream Fearless that's going to be your album that's coming out. How many songs are going to be on this album?
Right now I got like 10 songs done. I'm not
Wow.
those 10, or I'm gonna add extra ones. I got a couple songs that I'm not really sure if I'm
Hmm.
yet, but yeah, because I just want it to be like, you know, everything to go with the concept of, you know, just dreaming fearless.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty much, you know, I'm putting my all into this. So
Yeah.
um I mean, yeah, I hope the people like it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Now, so have you done some videos like for this already, or does that come really next
Yeah.
once you kind of find the major songs that you want to do the videos for? Or
Yeah, I got like 2 videos done for it now.
okay,
But
okay,
we working still, and it's not done yet.
yeah,
It's almost there though, so it should be ready for, you know, the next 3 weeks. It should be ready.
yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome, man. That's so fantastic. Well, where did that come from? I mean, have you just always kind of had this ability to, to put words into such this, awesome flow? And I mean, talk to us about that. Where did that come from? Because it's just not everybody's good at, spitting some nice freestyle out, right?
Poetry. I always been into poetry growing up. That's what it is.
Nice.
And I used to write a lot of poems growing up, and yeah, that's where it came from really. And then just music, period. I always listen to all types of music. So
Yeah.
um, I was like, man, after playing basketball and everything, I'm like, let's try this. Well, I mean, I
That's awesome.
recorded songs before that though. I
Yeah.
recorded my first song I recorded was probably when I was like 13.
13. Wow. Okay. So it's been something, I mean, what about your family? I mean, are they musically inclined and have this, ability with words as well, or?
Um, no, I mean, I'm like really one of the only ones in my family, but
Yeah.
close friends,
Yeah.
like
Okay.
they the ones who taught me really. Some friends,
Yeah.
yeah, how to get into all of that recording and everything. Yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah. That's fantastic. I mean, did you have a fear to kind of, jump on the mic and get behind the video camera and all that kind of stuff? Yeah.
The video camera, what not so much, but the mic, just like recording in front of people. Like I sometimes I would just have it would just have to be me and whoever the engineer was there, and I couldn't do
Yeah.
it. I couldn't record in front of anybody, or if somebody asked me to like say my part of the verse or the song, I'm
Oh my
like
gosh.
I got all shaken up. But I grew out of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, you do it enough times. And I guess, like you said, I mean, you got a thick skin, right? Like, so I'm assuming you didn't have to fail very many times to where you're like, probably just like, F it. Like, here we go. Let's go ahead and do this. Right.
Yeah. Once I did that, it was just like it's natural now. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Sure.
feel like maybe a couple times a week and record but
Hmm.
it's just about just laying a brick a day. you know
Yeah.
that's all it is, just laying a brick a day. Always stay working.
Yeah.
you know that's
Do you
that's
find, like that you just are constantly, you know, in your head, are you constantly just coming up with new verses and new rhymes and
all.
new ideas and all that? I mean, I'm assuming you keep notebooks around the house and all that kind of stuff all
Yeah,
over the place.
yeah, that's all I every day, all day. Like it's just like it's everything that I see is just like inspiration. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I gotta write a lot of stuff down, and then a lot of stuff I forget too. I'm like, man, I forgot what that line was, but yeah, it's just I gotta keep
Yeah.
on writing it down for sure. I got a whole in my phone, my notes. It's just like my
Isn't it something?
my iCloud storage is like full. But
It's so fun. Yeah, it's so funny that you said that. Two things. Number one, I just talked about that on a video this morning about my notes in my phone. Like I'm losing, gigabytes, man, storage on, because I have so many videos, but I have so many notes as well. I mean, I'm working on my book right now and I'm constantly writing, as soon as something pops into my head, it's kind of going in there, you know what I mean? Like it, and I would imagine as an artist like yourself, and especially as a designer too, like I'm assuming now you're taking words and you're now making them print as well.
yeah,
Right. And I know that you and I kind of spoke about that, a little bit, kind of like what I'm doing, in the background with my opportunity with apparel. But what's that like? I mean, have you kind of had to shift your artistic ability from one to the other?
I mean, not as far as like putting the words on shirts. Like it's just
Yeah.
basically it's the same thing for me as like just like writing music. Um,
Yeah.
so that's how I look at it. Just like my album Dream Fearless, we put it on the shirt. So
Yeah.
but the only thing is just coming up like with the designs. I don't know if you can see the shirt.
Yeah. 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 Oh yeah, we can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, so the designs, I mean, yeah,
Nice.
with that, that's a different process for me.
Yeah.
But I got a lot of help with that with my partner
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, and that's important to have, good partnerships, right? To where, whatever you lack in, that person can kind of pick up the pace and vice versa, right? I mean, that always definitely helps. So
No,
that's good. Partnerships are great. Now, when it comes to your music, I mean, you have an agent, obviously, that makes sure that, everything is kosher. And then you just are what, your own private label then? Is that what my understanding is?
yeah, my label, Gangrene.
Nice. Okay, good. Okay, so those two then go together. Gangrene, and then obviously, the clothing line and merch as well.
Mhm.
That's all with your brand then, and that's all with your, for your label then.
Hmm.
Okay, that's awesome. Perfect. That makes it so much, yeah, that makes it so much easier, right? For you to be able to pivot at all times. So then obviously your events, as you get into more live events, as the world
Oh,
starts opening back up again and you start going. So you're going to then take obviously your Gangrene merch,
of course.
and that's going to be at the events as well, obviously promoting your brand at the same time.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, that's a,
Fantastic.
with the merch, you can take it on, with the shows and everything. So that's
Yeah. Well,
always.
plus it's online, like look, and in case we have another virus, pop up or something else, hits the fan, you're able to kind of pivot and then do your thing as well. That's fantastic.
Yep.
That's fantastic, brother, man. Well, wow. If you could really kind of give, I don't want to say one nugget because I know that, sometimes it can be, kind of a winded statement. What advice do you have for people out there that could be listening right now?
Never give up. No matter what, just keep on grinding and go forward. Don't get dwell on the past. Always just look forward.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Fantastic. Yeah,
Give
man. Don't
back.
dwell on the past. Yep. Give back. Right.
Don't ever forget where you come from.
Yep.
Don't ever,
Uh,
no. Don't do it for the money. Do it for the passion.
yep.
Always have passion in what you do.
Yeah. Fantastic, brother. Fantastic, man. Well, so where can people find you?
As far as music, you can find me on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, SoundCloud, whatever you listen to music on, under
Yep.
Young Duke.
Okay.
And then
Perfect.
as far as merch is our website is ganggreenmerch.com.
Got it.
Gang GAINGREENMERCA gangrene or MERCH, sorry. .com.
Got it.
Gangrene merch.
Got it. And I'll attach that as well. And, that'll be also downloaded on iTunes and Spotify. Okay. So I'll have a link there. So where when people are listening to maybe even this episode, they'll be able to go ahead and find you there, at those locations as well. Okay. So, well, awesome, man. I appreciate you being on. I'm going to have you stick around here just for a second after, we stop the live broadcast. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening in. We have Sir Young Duke. Follow him on YouTube. Follow him in his business. Wow. I mean, all the awesome stuff that is coming from both companies in both parts of his business are fantastic. And like you said, remember where you come from. That builds an incredible fire in people's bellies to where they're able to achieve a lot more. And if you like this podcast, share it. Hey, comment. Do whatever you got to do. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a like. Remember why we do it. We do it to provoke positive change in people, to, really be at peak performance in their life, but more importantly, to be able to give back to their communities. So I appreciate you listening in today, and we will talk soon.